Welcome to World Information HD, the channel where we uncover the hidden fortune inside your pocket change. In today's video, we're counting down the top 5 most valuable and rare Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins ever discovered in the United States. These incredible nickels are worth far more than their face value. Some are valued in the hundreds of thousands, and a few even reach into the millions. So grab your coin jar and stay tuned, because one of these rare Jefferson nickels could be sitting in your collection right now. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins from the United States of America, the 1980 D Mint Mark Jefferson nickel, featuring the classic Monticello 5-cent design. At first glance, it may seem like just another ordinary nickel. Millions of these coins were produced, and they're still fairly common in circulation today. But as history and the collector's world often prove, even the most ordinary coin can hold extraordinary secrets. Some of these 1980 D Jefferson nickels can be worth a small fortune, and in one astonishing case, a specific coin shocked collectors with its incredible price at auction. So, let's journey through the history, design, minting errors, and value of this 5-cent coin that could turn your spare change into a collector's dream. To understand the value of the 1980 D Jefferson nickel, we first need to go back to its origins. The Jefferson nickel design was introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel. The U.S. Mint held a public competition for the new design, and the winner was Felix Schlag, a talented sculptor whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson became an American icon. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find a dignified left-facing profile of Jefferson, inspired by a marble bust created by Jean-Antoine Houdon. The inscriptions include, "In God we trust, liberty," and the date, in this case, 1980, followed by the mint mark D for the Denver Mint. The reverse of the coin showcases Jefferson's beautiful Virginia estate, Monticello. It's a neoclassical masterpiece that Jefferson himself designed, and it's been immortalized on the nickel for more than 8 decades. Across the top, you'll see the words, E pluribus unum, and beneath the image are the inscriptions, Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. The level of detail in the steps, columns, and dome of Monticello is one of the features collectors pay close attention to when grading these coins. A coin with full, sharply defined steps on Monticello, known as full steps, or FS, is considered significantly more valuable. Now, the year 1980 was a time of transition for American coinage. The mint was increasing production to meet growing economic demands, and both the Philadelphia and Denver mints struck huge numbers of nickels that year. The Denver Mint, indicated by the D Mint mark, produced over 390 million Jefferson nickels in 1980, a staggering figure. However, even in such large numbers, not all coins come out perfect. Slight differences in die strikes, planchet quality, and storage conditions can create rare varieties that collectors eagerly hunt for. Let's talk about some of those varieties and errors that can make the 1980 D Jefferson nickel worth far more than its face value. One of the most sought-after varieties is the full steps nickel. To earn this designation, the coin must show at least 5 or 6 fully visible and unbroken steps at the base of Monticello. Because even the slightest wear, weak strike, or die deterioration can blur these lines, finding a true full steps 1980 D nickel in pristine condition is extremely rare. High-grade examples graded by PCGS or NGC can command hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on eye appeal and sharpness. Another category that fascinates collectors is mint errors. These are mistakes made during the minting process that result in unique and often valuable coins. For the 1980 D Jefferson nickel, known errors include off-center strikes, double dies, die cracks, clipped planchets, and broad strikes. An off-center strike occurs when the coin blank isn't properly aligned with the dies, resulting in part of the design missing. Depending on how far off-center the strike is, the value can jump significantly, especially if both the date and mint mark remain visible. A double die error happens when the die itself has a slight misalignment between strikes, causing letters, numbers, or design elements to appear doubled. While rare for this year, a strong double die example could attract major attention from serious collectors. Similarly, a die crack, where a small break in the die transfers a raised line onto the coin, can be worth more if it's dramatic or runs across Jefferson's face or Monticello. Each of these flaws makes the coin unique, and uniqueness is what drives demand in the numismatic market. Condition, of course, is another key factor in determining a coin's value. Collectors grade coins on a scale from poor P1 all the way to mint state MS-70. A heavily circulated 1980 Jefferson nickel might only be worth its face value of 5 cents. But if it's in uncirculated condition, especially one with full steps, the value skyrockets. A coin graded MS-65 or higher with full luster and no contact marks can be extremely desirable. The higher the grade, the rarer and more valuable the coin becomes. Now, let's talk about the metal composition and how it contributes to the coin's appeal. The 1980 Jefferson nickel is made of a copper-nickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel. It weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. While there's no precious metal content like silver or gold, the durability and distinct luster of this alloy make it an enduring piece of American coinage history. Some collectors even note how the warm tone of aged copper-nickel nickels adds to their visual charm. What makes the 1980 Jefferson nickel especially interesting is that it sits at the crossroads of modern and classic coinage. Earlier nickels from the 1940s contained wartime silver compositions, while later ones saw shifts in design and minting technology. The 1980 issue represents a bridge between the old mechanical minting era and the more precise techniques that emerged later in the decade. That transitional significance adds an extra layer of historical intrigue. Over the years, many collectors have searched through bank rolls and old coin jars hoping to find one of these elusive high-grade 1980 nickels. And indeed, a few have surfaced at auctions in truly remarkable condition. Coin grading companies have certified a handful of examples as MS-67 full steps, nearly flawless specimens that showcase incredible sharpness and brilliance. When one of these coins appears on the market, competition among collectors can be intense. In fact, one particularly stunning 1980 Jefferson nickel in superb gem condition, featuring razor-sharp details on Monticello and a lustrous surface free of blemishes, captured national attention when it went under the hammer. Collectors and investors alike recognized it as a standout example from a year not known for pristine strikes. Its eye appeal, rarity, and technical perfection combined to produce a jaw-dropping result. Imagine owning a coin minted over 4 decades ago that looks as if it just left the presses yesterday. The mirror-like fields, the frosty details of Jefferson's face, the crisp edges of the building steps. These are the attributes that elevate a simple 5-cent piece into a museum-quality treasure. The beauty of coin collecting is that these discoveries often come from unexpected places. Many people have found rare nickels and pennies simply by checking their pocket change or sorting through inherited coin jars. Every coin has a story, and every search carries the thrill of possibility. Who knows? The next valuable 1980 Jefferson nickel could be sitting unnoticed in your collection right now. So, what can you do to identify if you have a potentially valuable coin? Start by examining the mint mark. The small D next to the date indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint. Then, check the steps on Monticello with a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe. If all 5 or 6 steps are clearly visible, you may have a full steps example. Next, assess the coin's surface. Is it clean and shiny, or does it show scratches and wear? The fewer marks, the higher the grade. If it looks promising, you can have it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC to confirm its value. It's worth noting that most 1980 Jefferson nickels in circulated condition are common and hold only face value. However, uncirculated and error examples remain highly collectible, especially among Jefferson nickel enthusiasts. The key takeaway is that rarity isn't always about how many were made, it's about how many survived in top condition. Now, after all this history, design detail, and collector excitement, you're probably wondering, what's the highest value ever recorded for a 1980 Jefferson nickel Monticello 5-cent coin? Well, here's where things get truly amazing. Welcome back to World Information HD, the home of fascinating discoveries, hidden treasures, and rare coins that could change your financial future overnight. In today's episode, we're going deep into the intriguing story of one of America's most overlooked yet surprisingly valuable coins, the United States of America 1987 D Mint Mark Jefferson Nickel Monticello 5-cent coin. You might think nickels are just ordinary coins, the kind you toss into a jar or drop into a vending machine without a second thought. But what if I told you that a coin sitting quietly in your loose change could actually be worth a small fortune? What if a 5-cent piece from 1987 could bring you thousands of dollars if you find the right one? That's exactly what we're talking about today, a hidden gem in American coinage that could make collectors and lucky finders smile with disbelief. Let's start by setting the stage. The year is 1987, a time when Ronald Reagan was President of the United States. The world was experiencing massive economic and technological changes, and millions of coins were being struck across the U.S. Mint facilities. At that time, in Denver, the U.S. Mint produced a huge number of Jefferson nickels bearing the D Mint mark. These coins were part of a long and proud tradition that began in 1938, when the Jefferson nickel replaced the Buffalo nickel. The design, created by Felix Schlag, honored America's third president, Thomas Jefferson, and showcased his famous Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. The Jefferson nickel has always been admired for its historical symbolism. Jefferson's portrait on the obverse side represents intellect, democracy, and innovation, while Monticello stands as a symbol of architectural beauty and Jefferson's vision for the young nation. Over the decades, the design has undergone subtle modifications, but the 1987 D version remains one of the classic pre-modern designs, a snapshot of American history captured in nickel and copper. Now, the 1987 D Jefferson nickel was not a limited edition by any means. In fact, over 379 million of them were struck in Denver alone. That's a massive number, which makes it even more surprising that some of these coins can be worth far more than their face value. How does that happen? Well, in the world of numismatics, the study and collection of coins, rarity doesn't always mean low mintage. Sometimes, a simple minting error, unusual die strike, or pristine condition can turn a common coin into an incredible discovery. Collectors often look for key details on coins that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. And with the 1987 D Jefferson nickel, it's all about condition, strike quality, and certain rare varieties that only appear under magnification or in mint state grades. For example, a full-step Monticello nickel, meaning the steps on the building on the reverse side are sharply defined and clearly visible, can make all the difference in value. These so-called full steps nickels are highly prized by collectors because they indicate a perfect strike with no weak details. Many coins from 1987 were struck quickly and with worn dies, which means most nickels lost their sharpness in the step details. Finding one that's perfectly defined is extremely rare. Imagine finding a 1987 D nickel with all those steps crisp and clean, no scratches, no signs of circulation, and with beautiful luster. That's a collector's dream. Those are the coins that can sell for astonishing amounts when graded by professional agencies like PCGS or NGC. Even more intriguing are the error coins, mistakes made during production that slipped past inspection. Some 1987 D nickels showed die cracks, off-center strikes, or planchet errors where part of the coin's surface is missing or doubled. These mistakes, while technically flaws, make the coins unique and highly collectible. Now let's talk about what gives these nickels their charm and hidden potential. The coin is composed primarily of copper with a layer of nickel, giving it that shiny silvery appearance. On the obverse side, Jefferson faces left, his iconic profile surrounded by the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," along with the year 1987. Beneath the year sits the tiny D Mint mark, indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. On the reverse, the beautiful image of Monticello stands in the center, with E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, and 5 cents engraved around it. The simplicity of the design is part of what makes the Jefferson nickel so enduring, elegant, patriotic, and instantly recognizable. But what truly brings these coins to life is their journey through time. Many have passed through countless hands over nearly 4 decades, through pockets, piggy banks, and cash registers. Yet a few manage to escape circulation, carefully preserved by collectors or stored away unknowingly. These untouched pieces are now like frozen moments from 1987, gleaming with potential value. For coin enthusiasts, grading is everything. A 1987D nickel in circulated condition might only be worth its face value, 5 cents. But the same coin in mint state, especially one graded MS65 or higher, can command serious money. And when you move into coins that have the full steps, designation, or contain minting errors, that's when the price jumps dramatically. Let's picture the excitement for a moment. Imagine you're sorting through an old collection, or maybe going through a jar of spare change at home. You notice a shiny nickel that looks different. The details on Monticello seem sharper, and the luster is remarkable. You flip it over and see the small D under the date, 1987. You take a closer look and realize the coin is practically flawless. What you might have thought was an ordinary coin could turn out to be a rare gem worth thousands. Many collectors have experienced that exact rush of discovery, a heart-pounding moment of realizing you're holding something extraordinary. And here's where the story gets even more fascinating. Some of the highest-graded 1987D Jefferson nickels have gone on to fetch remarkable prices at coin auctions and private sales. It's not just about their metal content, it's about rarity, beauty, and condition. Coins that have survived decades in perfect shape become time capsules, preserving the craftsmanship of the mint and the spirit of their era. Another aspect that makes these nickels valuable is the attention to detail from numismatists who specialize in Jefferson nickels. They catalog varieties, identify minting quirks, and publish reports that help the collector community track unique specimens. So, while millions of people handle nickels daily, only a few truly understand the nuances that can make one worth thousands of times more than another. For those who are new to coin collecting, here's a tip. Always handle coins by the edges to avoid fingerprints, store them in protective holders, and avoid cleaning them. Cleaning can actually damage a coin's surface and lower its value drastically. The natural patina that develops over time often adds to its authenticity and charm. If you suspect you have a valuable coin, get it authenticated and graded by professionals. So, why are Jefferson nickels, especially those from the 1980s, gaining attention now? The reason lies in both nostalgia and discovery. The late 20th century marked the end of traditional coin production before major design changes arrived in the 2000s. Collectors are now looking back at these decades with renewed interest, realizing that mint-state coins from this era are harder to find than expected. Add to that the fascination with mint errors and the thrill of uncovering hidden treasures, and suddenly, coins like the 1987D Jefferson nickel become highly desirable. Coin collecting is more than just a hobby, it's a journey through history, art, and mystery. Each coin tells a story about the time it was made, the hands that held it, and the nation that produced it. The 1987D Jefferson nickel is a shining reminder that even everyday objects can carry hidden value if you know where to look. It's not just metal, it's legacy, craftsmanship, and luck combined in one small piece of history. As we wrap up, remember this. Always check your change carefully. The next time you find an older Jefferson nickel, take a moment to study it. Look at the mint mark, check the condition, and pay attention to the steps on Monticello. Because one day, you might be the person who discovers a near-perfect 1987D nickel that's been waiting decades to reveal its true worth. And now, for the part that every collector loves to hear, the potential value. While most 1987D Jefferson nickels are worth only a few cents, the rarest, highest quality examples with full steps and perfect preservation have sold for as much as $45,653. That's right, from just 5 cents to over $45,000, all depending on the quality, rarity, and luck of the find. Welcome back to World Information HD, the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding in your loose change and coin collections. Today's journey takes us into the fascinating world of the Jefferson nickel, specifically, the 1988D mint mark Jefferson nickel, a coin that might just surprise you with how much value it can hold. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and let's dive into the story, history, and potential fortune behind this humble 5-cent piece from the United States of America. The Jefferson nickel has been an iconic piece of American currency since it first rolled out of the mint in 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel. Designed by Felix Schlag, the coin features a left-facing portrait of the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse side. On the reverse, you'll find his home, Monticello, an architectural masterpiece that has stood as both a personal residence and a symbol of American innovation and independence. Now, the year 1988 might not immediately stand out to most collectors, but for those who know how to look closely, it holds a secret worth discovering. The 1988 D. Jefferson nickel, produced at the Denver Mint, was part of a series struck during a period of transition and subtle design changes that only trained eyes or lucky collectors tend to notice. More than 662 million nickels were minted that year with the D Mint mark, making it one of the most common Jefferson nickels at first glance. However, within that massive number lies the rare and valuable error varieties that transform a simple coin into a collector's dream. To understand why some 1988 D nickels can be worth serious money, we first need to explore the details of the coin itself. On the obverse, Jefferson's portrait is crisp and modernized compared to the earlier versions. The words, "In God We Trust," appear to his left, "Liberty," to the right, followed by the date, 1988. Just below the date sits the small but mighty D Mint mark, signifying its birth at the Denver Mint. The reverse features the detailed facade of Monticello, with E Pluribus Unum above it, and Monticello 5 cents, and United States of America engraved below. Now here's where things get interesting. In 1988, subtle differences began to appear in the dies used for minting nickels, particularly in the spacing, design, and depth of certain lettering and features. While most coins came out perfectly normal, a few had double die errors, die cracks, and off-center strikes that are now the stuff of legend among collectors. These small variations, invisible to most people, can dramatically change a coin's value. One of the most talked about varieties is the 1988 D nickel with a repunched mint mark, RPM. This occurs when the D Mint mark was stamped more than once into the die, causing a slight doubling effect visible under magnification. The tiny duplication of the Mint mark might seem insignificant, but for collectors, this is pure gold. A sharp, clearly visible RPM can push the value of your 1988 D nickel from just a few cents to hundreds of dollars. Another variety to keep an eye out for is the 1988 D double die obverse. This rare error occurs when the design elements on Jefferson's face or the surrounding letters were struck twice, creating a ghost-like doubling effect. On some examples, you can spot this doubling most clearly on the words, "In God We Trust," or on Jefferson's eye and jawline. Coins with these characteristics, especially in high mint state condition, have fetched impressive prices at coin shows and online auctions. Then there's the die crack and cut errors. Over time, minting dies can develop small cracks, and when those cracked dies continue to strike coins, they leave raised lines or lumps of metal on the finished pieces. A cut, for example, happens when a piece of the die breaks away completely, leaving a blob-like raised area near the rim. Collectors adore these anomalies, not because they're beautiful, but because they capture a moment in minting history, a mistake frozen in metal. Another important factor that influences the value of a 1988 D Jefferson nickel is its condition. Coins are graded on a scale from poor, P1, all the way to mint state, MS70. A coin that's been circulating in pockets and cash registers for decades might only be worth face value. But a pristine example, one that still shines like the day it left the mint, can command a much higher price. Coins graded MS65 or higher, with sharp details, no scratches, and full luster, are the ones that truly make collectors' hearts race. Some of these high-grade 1988 D nickels have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at professional auctions. What makes them so valuable isn't just rarity, it's the combination of condition, demand, and unique features. For example, coins with full steps on Monticello are particularly prized. Full steps means that all 6 steps on the building are fully visible and separated, showing that the coin was perfectly struck. Achieving a coin like that from 1988 is no easy feat, considering how most nickels from that period were heavily circulated. Now, let's talk a little bit about the history and production context. The 1980s were a dynamic decade for the U.S. Mint, which was continuously refining its technology to produce coins more efficiently. Denver's Mint was known for its precision, but even with advanced machinery, minor errors slipped through, errors that today fuel the excitement of collectors. Many nickels were minted with slightly misaligned dies or planchets that didn't sit perfectly under the press. Each of these imperfections adds a story and increases desirability. The Jefferson nickel design itself went through few major changes until the 2000s, which makes these 1988 examples a fascinating time capsule of American coinage before modernization took full effect. It's a coin that bridges the old and new, still carrying the timeless image of Jefferson and his Monticello, but struck with evolving minting techniques. You might be wondering, how can you tell if your 1988 D. Jefferson nickel is valuable? Start by examining the coin under good lighting and magnification. Look for clean surfaces, minimal wear, and strong details in Jefferson's hair, the lettering, and the steps on Monticello. If the coin shows doubling, cracks, or an unusually bold mint mark, it's worth taking a closer look. Many collectors use a jeweler's loupe or digital microscope for precision. If you believe your coin has potential, the next step is to get it professionally graded. Companies like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, can certify your coin's authenticity, grade, and attributes. A certified coin not only gives you peace of mind but also dramatically increases its market value. Collectors and investors are willing to pay a premium for coins in sealed, graded holders. What's also amazing is how modern collectors are rediscovering Jefferson nickels from the 1980s, a period once dismissed as too recent to be valuable. As time passes, however, pristine coins from this decade become scarcer. Circulation and handling take their toll, and that scarcity increases desirability. Just imagine, a coin that once jingled in someone's pocket change at a 1988 gas station could today be a prized addition to a collector's case. Many stories have emerged from people who accidentally stumbled upon rare Jefferson nickels in old coin jars, inherited collections, or even bank rolls. It's a reminder that treasures are sometimes hiding in plain sight. The thrill of discovery never fades, especially when it comes with the possibility of a valuable find. So, as you sort through your change, don't overlook those dull, gray nickels. That 1988 D. Jefferson nickel might just hold a secret. Whether it's a repunched mint mark, a doubled die, or an exceptional mint state example, you could be sitting on something much more valuable than you think. Coin collecting is not just about profit, it's about the story. Every coin carries a fragment of history, an imprint of the time it was struck, and the countless hands it passed through. The Jefferson nickel series, in particular, reflects decades of American heritage and craftsmanship. From Jefferson's portrait to the engraving of Monticello, each coin is a small monument to the ideals of liberty, innovation, and the American dream. And now we come to the most exciting part: the potential worth of the rarest and most pristine examples of the 1988 D. Jefferson nickel. In recent years, collectors have paid significant sums for these exceptional coins, especially those verified with full steps and unique errors. The highest recorded sale for a perfect, high-grade specimen reached an astonishing value of $44,982. So, the next time you find a nickel in your change, don't dismiss it as ordinary. Check the date, look for that small D mint mark, and inspect it closely. Who knows, you might just be holding a coin that connects you to history, beauty, and a small fortune waiting to be discovered. Welcome back to World Information HD, where knowledge meets curiosity, and where every coin tells a story. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising finds in modern U.S. coin history: the 1996 D. Jefferson nickel with the Monticello reverse design. This unassuming 5-cent coin has turned heads among collectors, not only because of its design and legacy but because certain rare varieties of it have reached absolutely shocking values in the numismatic world. You might have one sitting in a jar, a drawer, or hidden in your pocket change right now without realizing it could be worth thousands of dollars. Let's journey through the history, design, minting process, hidden errors, and secrets behind the 1996 D Jefferson nickel that make it so incredibly collectible and valuable today. First, let's talk about the coin itself. The 1996 D Jefferson nickel was struck at the Denver Mint. That's what the small D mint mark stands for, located to the right of Thomas Jefferson's bust on the obverse side. This nickel is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series that began in 1938, honoring the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, and his home, Monticello. Designed by Felix Schlag, this design has been a classic part of American coinage for decades. By 1996, the design had been around for nearly 60 years, yet few could have predicted that one particular year's production would harbor such rare and valuable examples. The obverse of the coin features Jefferson's left-facing portrait with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," followed by the date, 1996. The reverse displays the Monticello Building, Jefferson's iconic home in Virginia, with the words, "E pluribus unum, Monticello, 5 cents," and "United States of America." At first glance, nothing seems out of the ordinary. Millions of these were minted for circulation, and to most people, they were just another 5-cent coin. But to coin collectors and specialists, some 1996 D Jefferson nickels hold secrets that could transform their value from mere cents to tens of thousands of dollars. The Denver Mint struck over 1.4 billion Jefferson nickels in 1996, so how could any of them be worth so much? The answer lies in the condition, minting anomalies, and rare errors that slip through during production. These tiny imperfections can turn a normal coin into a once-in-a-lifetime find. Let's start with what makes the 1996 D Jefferson nickel stand out among modern coins. During the 1990s, the U.S. Mint faced a period of technological transition. New dies, presses, and planchet preparations were being introduced. Sometimes these adjustments caused subtle changes in die pressure, alignment, or even double strikes. A few 1996 D nickels show what collectors call a full step designation. That's when the steps on the Monticello Building on the reverse are fully visible and sharply struck. This detail is extremely important. Most coins have blurred or incomplete steps due to weak strikes or worn dies, but a coin with full steps indicates a perfect, high-quality strike and can skyrocket in value. Even more fascinating are rare errors found on some 1996 D Jefferson nickels, like off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies. Imagine finding a nickel where Jefferson's face seems doubled, or the Monticello lettering looks ghostly overlapped. These mistakes, while unnoticed during minting, are prized treasures for collectors because they are unique. No two era coins are exactly the same. Among the most sought after are the double die obverse and reverse examples, which feature slight doubling visible on Jefferson's profile or on the words, "E pluribus unum," and "Monticello." Some also exhibit die breaks, where small raised lines appear like veins across the coin's surface due to worn dies. The scarcer the flaw, the higher the value. Condition also plays a massive role in determining the worth of a 1996 D Jefferson nickel. Coins that have been well preserved, untouched by circulation, and stored properly in original mint luster are called mint state, or uncirculated. These are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with MS-70 being a flawless example. A regular circulated nickel might be worth just face value, but a 1996 D in perfect mint state with full steps can sell for hundreds, even thousands, depending on rarity and demand. Let's not forget the historical charm behind the Jefferson nickel series itself. When the design debuted in 1938, it replaced the Buffalo nickel, another beloved coin. The Jefferson nickel has since become one of the longest-running series in U.S. history, symbolizing not just America's founding ideals, but also its commitment to design continuity and legacy. Each decade of production tells its own story, from wartime nickels made with silver during World War II to the modern-day redesigns in the 2000s. The 1996 D issue sits right in the heart of the modern era, a bridge between the old craftsmanship and new minting technology. Now, let's imagine finding one of these coins in your possession. Perhaps you're sorting through an old collection, rolling coins to take to the bank, or browsing through a yard sales change jar. The key to spotting a valuable 1990-60 Jefferson nickel lies in paying attention to the smallest details. Look closely under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Examine Jefferson's hairline, his eye, and the word, Liberty, 4 signs of doubling. Flip the coin and inspect Monticello's steps. Can you count all 6 distinct steps? Are the lines sharp and defined? That's a major clue. Collectors also look for coins struck on improper planchets. For example, if a nickel was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for another denomination like a penny or dime. These errors are exceedingly rare but can fetch incredible prices when authenticated. It's also worth noting that professional grading services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, can officially grade and certify your coin. Having your coin graded by these trusted services not only proves authenticity but can multiply its value many times over. A coin in a PCGS or NGC holder with a high mint state grade and a full step designation could command serious attention in auctions or private sales. In fact, several 1990-60 Jefferson nickels have already made headlines in coin auctions. Collectors are willing to pay premium prices for well-struck, rare examples with full steps and mint brilliance. The market for Jefferson nickels has quietly grown over the years, with more people realizing how overlooked this series has been compared to older coins like Mercury dimes or wheat pennies. What's particularly fascinating is that many of these valuable 1990-60 nickels were found in everyday circulation. That means they weren't locked away in collectors' vaults. They were sitting in cash drawers, coin jars, or pockets. It shows that treasure can still be found in plain sight, even in the smallest denominations. If you're new to coin collecting or coin hunting, the Jefferson Nickel series is a great place to start. It's affordable, rich in history, and full of surprises like the 1990-60. Start by saving any nickel that looks different or has sharp detail. Compare them side by side with ordinary coins. You'll quickly start noticing subtle differences that could lead to a valuable discovery. Also, remember to store your coins carefully. Handle them by the edges, avoid touching the surface, and keep them in holders or coin flips to prevent scratches. Even a tiny fingerprint can reduce the value of a high-grade coin. Cleanliness, preservation, and documentation are key in the world of numismatics. As we continue exploring the 1990-60 Jefferson nickel, one can't help but admire the artistry and precision of coin design. Felix Schlag's vision of Jefferson and Monticello continues to stand as a timeless symbol of American history. And while it's just a 5-cent piece, its beauty lies in the story it tells, of craftsmanship, history, and the chance for discovery. So, before you dismiss that nickel in your hand as ordinary, take a closer look. It might just be the rare version every collector dreams about. In an age where most people pay digitally, finding a rare coin like this is a nostalgic and thrilling reminder of how tangible money can still hold immense hidden value. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating piece of coin history, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to World Information HD. Every week, we uncover rare US coins that could be hiding right in your collection or even your pocket change, coins that turn ordinary finds into extraordinary fortunes. And now, the part everyone has been waiting for, the unbelievable value. A verified rare 1990-60 Jefferson nickel in pristine mint condition with exceptional strike and full step detail has been recorded to sell for an astonishing price of $49,266.